have to ask why. It's not called the disinformation monitoring that this virus had come from a laboratory. They were absolutely crushed on social media. You know, they were sort of cancelled and God knows what else.
Perhaps not helped because Donald Trump was saying it as well.
Yeah, of course.
And so he was discrediting it by saying it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, your greatest problem when you're taking an anti-authoritarian line is you're often alongside a lot of lunatics, and you've got to watch that. But you know, that was the earliest example. But we began to see time and time again over things like what worked. Lockdown was one of them. Even over the issue of basically disabling Parliament, which is what the COVID emergency legislation did. I was one of the very few who complained at the time. So there was a strange air of the government carrying on with nobody to control it and then Parliament being disabled. But we didn't really know that we were actually being monitored. I think if we'd known at the time, there would have been absolute outrage.
It was your public messaging, wasn't it? They were looking at what you were saying on Twitter and elsewhere. I mean...
Yeah, but you have to ask why. It's not called the disinformation monitoring unit. It's called the counter-disinformation unit, right? I mean, we still to this day don't know. Were they asking them to change the algorithm? Because bear in mind, in this day and age, you can get away with basically reducing somebody's effectiveness, not by cancelling them, which is high profile, but by changing the algorithm so nobody sees it.
And all you were asking, what appears to be, was for more transparency and accountability.
More transparency, more accountability. Actually, frankly, oddly enough, more treating the science with more respect. I mean, let me give you one example where I was cancelled, right?
Yes.
I was cancelled by YouTube, albeit only for 24 hours.
Yes.
And in fact, I was back up before I'd known I'd been cancelled. And the reason for that was the Daily Telegraph had rung up.
And to ask why you've been cancelled.
Asked why is David fit? And of course, they panicked at that point. They realised they caught a shark in the net. And and what had happened is, I think Big Brother Watch had videoed me making a speech against vaccine passports, vaccine ID cards, whatever. And the reason I was doing that was because the claim the government had made that the vaccine stops transmission had been proven to be untrue. So the perpetrators of disinformation was the government on that occasion. You know, you have to wonder, and when I talk to YouTube, they say, oh, well, it was the algorithm. And you have to wonder how many of these algorithms are agreed with government.
Yeah.
You know, how many of them? Because they're very pro-establishment algorithms.
You've been quite careful going down these routes, haven't you? Because it's quite colleagues of yours, MPs, former colleagues of yours now moved to different parties, are concerned about this kind of thing, aren't they? And they go down what I see as rabbit holes.
Yeah.
And you have to make sure you don't go too far down rabbit holes.
I mean, you do. And as I say, sometimes you have people alongside you. You're not people you would pick as allies, you know. But the truth is the truth, you know. My first degree was a science degree, and I'd intended initially to have a scientific career.